Misty Winkler from Simplified Organization, and today we talk about brain dumping. Oh, and I forgot my background. Whoops. With it anyway, yeah? You can see the top of my dresser. Usually have a screen kind of up there so it looks a little bit better. Whoops. So we're going to talk about brain dumping today. Yay! Oh, hello! Good to see you. It's a Monday, so let's clear our heads, right? How many of you have done some brain dumping? And how many, if you have had hello, Alyssa, if you've had questions or a rough time starting your brain dump, or any kind of hiccup in your brain dump, let's talk about it and let's try to get it worked out, because I think that brain dumping is such a helpful strategy, especially for moms at home we have a lot of plates to spin. Yes, that's a great point. So the first thing is that one brain dump is not enough. It's important to start with a brain dump. Hi, Kyle. Keel. That's a great Keel. Oh, and there comes the knock at the door. Hold on just a minute. Yes, a brain dump is such a helpful strategy because we have this kind of crazy mixed up mesh of ideas in our head, and a brain dump helps us get it onto paper where we can see what's on our mind, where we can see what's bothering us, what's feeling like the crazy inside of our head. And hey, baby, you want to do this with me? Watch out for the cord.
Please play Play-Doh.
Play-Doh?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. How about after? Look, all the hearts are for you.
Oh. Pink.
A little bit after. Okay, hold on a couple minutes. Okay, so we have crazy going on, right? Like that in our heads. And we need it out of our heads, because our heads, oh, thank you. Our heads are for thinking through things, figuring out strategies, processing, and not for holding. When we start holding a lot of things in our head and trying to remember them by just keeping them somewhere in there, it's going to stress us out. Even if it's a low-level stress that we can't really figure out what the root of it is, if we can get the details out onto paper where we can manage it better, then where we can see it, then we can manage it better and we can process it and deal with it.
Play Play-Doh.
And Neva likes to play Play-Doh. And she likes pink hearts. Hi, Alicia. Okay, so what questions do you have, or what troubles have you had with brain dumping? Okay, now you go way out in the hall for me to be done, okay? I would love to hear your questions and help you troubleshoot. I've had in the Simplified Organization and Work the Plan courses, we have a forum, and people have been asking questions there on brain dumps because they've had a hard time getting started. And so I was wondering if you have problems getting started, let's talk about that and figure that out. Right. Right. Uninterrupted time. Who has that? So that's why you just kind of have to carry on. Yes, sorting. Yes, processing. You just have to have that notebook and the pen ready to go out on the counter, and just have it there for a week, 2 weeks, and just keep adding to it instead of feeling like it has to be this uninterrupted time, like one-shot session. Acting. Okay, good. You can keep working on it and just add to it little bit by little bit. Hi, Josie. Yes. So we just have to keep adding to it, because uninterrupted time is like practically impossible when you have a house full of kids, and they are the main duty, right? So we're doing the brain dump so that we have better attention to give them. So we're clearing our heads, and when we can clear our heads of the clutter, which is what brain dumping is doing, then we can focus better, have better attention to give to our little ones when they need it, because our heads aren't so full of all the stuff we're trying to remember. So then when you have that brain dump, especially that first big, crazy spill onto paper, then what do you do with that? That's probably the biggest question I get. And really, that's kind of what simplified organization's all about, is after you do the brain dump, the different modules. The different modules are, brain dumping at night before you go to bed can be a great way to just clear your head and get, you can sleep better because things aren't rolling around and rattling around in your head. You have a place. You're not afraid you're going to forget stuff. So that's a great strategy. So really, simplified organization is all about handling that brain dump step by step after the fact. And if you watch my previous scope from a couple weeks ago, which you can find them all on my YouTube channel, on the 4 containers that you need, really what it boils down to is getting that information that you've spilled out into the right container. Some things might go on task list, some things might go on the calendar, some things might just go in notes, reference for the future, and a lot of things, really, honestly, for us at this stage in the game, a lot of those things just have to go in the garbage. A lot of them just have to be deleted. A lot of them we need to take them off our plate. We need to say, okay, I see that I have this feeling of obligation about X, Y, and Z, but really now is not the time for me to focus on that. Maybe some other time. So maybe you put it on a someday maybe list, and sometimes you just delete it and say, if I am going to do this someday maybe, it'll come back. You know, if it's something I'm supposed to do, God will bring it back into my life, and right now I just have to let it go. And so really, I think the best thing about a brain dump is seeing all the obligations and shoulds and oughts that we have rolling around in our mind, and in this kind of tangible way, letting go of them. Yeah, when you see it all on paper, then it becomes very obvious. Like, I can't do all this. What is important to me right now in this season that I'm in? Are you eating the hearts? It's probably reversed on your end. On our end, it looks like the hearts are coming out of her mouth. Silly goose. So the most important thing you can do is just delete what you can off of that list. You goose. And so the brain dump works really well because you're decluttering your head. You know, if you declutter a closet, it means pulling everything out and then only putting back in what belongs there. So the brain dump is getting everything out, so then you can only put into your system what actually belongs there. Not everything that comes out of your head belongs in your system. A lot of it just needs to be deleted. So let's see, I'm trying to remember what some of those questions were. Okay.
Can I play Play-Doh?
Not right now, maybe after we're done here, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank you. When do you think of things on the go? So your brain dump, you have that once kind of really big brain dump, but that first brain dump is not the end. Brain dumping is just a continual strategy that you return to again and again whenever you feel that crazy buildup going on in your head, because it's the way of saying, okay, this is what the crazy is, and I can let go of a lot of this. And then, so when I'm on the go and I think of things, there are a couple options. You can, if you keep a planner with you or a bullet journal, and I do have more on bullet journaling. So I'm trying to think where the best place to find that would be. It would just be to go to simplifiedorganization.com and go to the blog there and search for bullet journal, and you'll find stuff. you'll find the free webinar that I did with Carrie Denker on bullet journaling. Actually, that would be at simplifiedorganization.com/stone soup. Yes, thank you. So there are a couple options. You have to have, I call it your ubiquitous capture device. So ubiquitous means it's everywhere with you. So that might be your planner or your bullet journal. That might be your phone. Okay, cool. Both of them together. That's awesome. It might be, if you have your phone, a smartphone with you wherever you go, then you might capture into a notes program or into Evernote. You can also use voice memo. Voice memo is a really convenient one to use. So you can just leave yourself a voice memo, and then during your evening review or your weekly review, at some point you have to have some point built into your routine where you go through that brain dump stuff. No matter where you keep it, whether you're keeping it on paper or you're keeping it digitally, you need some time to process it and get the things that belong in your system into your system. You don't do that as you're brain dumping. It's you just brain dump and just let it all out. And then in your regularly slotted times, that's when you then process what needs to be processed into your system. So the brain dumping just needs to be a free flow of thought where you're not worried about getting it perfect and getting it right and into the right spot. You put things into the right spot at other times. The main thing is to figure out what your ubiquitous capture tool is, if it's notes, a planner, your phone, and then be consistent with it. So, don't have 5 different apps that you might put the brain dump into. Play around with a few and it might take you a little while to figure out which one works for you, but figure out which one works for you and stick with that one. So then you have one place to go to find those brain dump notes. All right. Yeah, now he's got the hearts coming out of the mouth game. Being wild and crazy. That's what I try to do my morning review on Saturday mornings, and I go into my husband's home office and close the door. So I don't know what they're doing. They're usually playing, or sometimes my husband is getting up and making breakfast. He does that on Saturday mornings. So I try to do mine on Saturday mornings. And it's really easy to get distracted and not do my weekly review items and to do other things, whatever else I would really like to get done. But that weekly review is the best use of my time. So I do try to do mine on Saturday mornings. If I don't do it Saturday morning, then I'll try to do it Saturday evening or in the afternoon during the kids' quiet time. But it's a lot easier to do a review time when the kids are in bed or quiet or maybe all outside and not hanging over my shoulder. All right, so this was a fun and wild and crazy chat, but didn't go as I planned. But it's all good, and I hope it was helpful. And if you have other topics that you would like for me to discuss, you can use the contact form on my blog and let me know, because I'm always up for ideas, more ideas. Careful, baby. And I have a free brain dump guide, so if you haven't used that, you can find that at simplifiedorganization.com. Just simplifiedorganization.com, and at the bottom of that main page, there's a sign up to get the free brain dump guide. All right, weekly review. Awesome. Maybe even later today. We'll see. Maybe after bedtime. I don't know. I will do weekly review next. Great. Thank you.